Who has jurisdiction? Israel. So if Palestinians have complaints, they'll just have to go to Israeli courts. We have jurisdiction. I'm sorry. How do you have jurisdiction? It is pretty funny because like there doesn't need to be any serious defense against these kinds of actions. Important to mention that Israeli officials think the ICJ will rule for a ceasefire in Rafah as early as this week, and increasingly worried that the U.S. won't veto it in the Security Council, according to Con 11. I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great. After the ICC prosecutor decision, Israeli officials are expected to hold tomorrow a meeting to discuss steps against the Palestinian Authority. Israel has one speed, bro.
Jurisdiction with the international criminal. You said that.
Oh, here we go. Let's hear what our boy had to say. He was trying to say that we have jurisdiction over Israel's actions due to the Leahy law, as in like we have a way to stop them from doing certain things because we'll just stop our flow of weapons, which, albeit true, is still ridiculous to fucking maintain while you're simultaneously running defense for an additional legal structure to also enforce when you yourself are personally not invested in enforcing any sort of restraint or restriction on Israel's action. So in a way, America has abdicated its duty, and that's precisely the reason why the ICC is stepping in.
Because the Palestinians are not a state actor, they don't have jurisdiction over their side. But back in 2014, I just Googled this one up. Jen Psaki was up here, your colleague. The statement was, today the ICC convicted Jermaine Katanga, the commander of the FRPI militia, for his responsibility for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The ICC's DRC cases represent a significant step toward delivering justice for victims in the DRC. She then went on to say the United States reiterates its call for the apprehension of Sylvester Mudakumora, another leader of an abusive rebel militia in the DRC, who is subject to an arrest warrant by the ICC. The Department of State continues to offer a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to his arrest. So at least in 2014, it was the position of the administration that you could even put out a reward for the arrest of somebody that would then go to the ICC and would have jurisdiction. So why does it not that apply to the current conflict?
So we have supported the work of the ICC in previous cases. I can't speak to this case.
Because they're black, Ryan. Because they're in Africa. That's it. I mean, that's the real answer. The real answer is like they are not inside of the neat little confines of American allegiance. They are not in the imperial core. The number is insane, by the way. What is it? Like 47 out of 48 at the ICC is African. 47 of the prosecutions that have been conducted successfully have been conducted against African like dictators and despots and shit, with the 48th being Vladimir Putin. That's insane, man. It was 47 out of 47. The Yugoslav prosecution was a separate, specially constituted court before the ICC was founded. No, Milosevic doesn't count because it predates it, I think, right? It's still technically ICC. Anyway, the point is, and this is important to recognize, it's not just because they're black. It's just that black nations and black despots seemingly are always outside of our realm of interest. And that's it. It's just because they are not in the neat little protective bubble of American State Department interest. That's why we're talking about Putin as well. It's not just that they are, black or that they are in Africa. I'm saying that as a joke for the most part. But as long as you are outside of the America's sphere of influence, if you're not in the imperial core, you might have even collaborated at a certain point with American interests. You might have aligned with American interests. You might have collaborated with Americans and became a fascist dictator. Make no mistake, by the way, I'm not saying that the ICC prosecutions are wrong. I'm not saying that at all, that these guys don't deserve it or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. My point is, as it stands, up until recently, these international organs of justice, alongside the UN, have only worked to correspond to America's understanding of the international rule-based order, where America makes the rules and America gives the orders. That's it. This is why, and I might be wrong on this, by the way, the previous fact, I'm like, we have obviously collaborated with despots and whatnot, tyrants all around the world, that then we burn because they are of no use to us any longer, and then they get prosecuted. That's one thing. But never, as far as I understand, never have I ever seen you like sucking duck and taking it up the ass. You should go help the people in the Middle East to see how they treat you, Lamau. I find it really funny for a dude who like is pro-Israel to come out and say something so stupid, not realizing that like I grew up in the MENA region for a longer period of my life than I lived in the United States of America. Like, what the do you mean? 2015 account, there's a whole ass adult? A whole ass adult with a incredibly stunted brain. I saw a Redditor say your dad is the Turkish Elon Musk. Yeah, dude, that's why I'm giving him money, because he's the Turkish Elon Musk. That's how rich I am. I'm richer than Elon Musk. Whoa, dude, no dirty laundry on the stream? Wait, what? I'm his... The fuck do you mean? I'm his son. It is my duty and my great honor to be able to take care of my family. What the fuck are you talking about? Dirty laundry. Only Americans would consider that to be like inappropriate or whatever. You were in Ankara, easy with the MENA? Oh my god, Turk's getting mad that Turkey is still functionally a part of the Middle East. Yeah bro, no, I'm not saying. Senin baban Sabancı diyenler vardı bir ara. Beyt sallayan mallar, inanan var mı gerçekten? I don't think bilmiyorlar ki bunlar Sabancı'nın kim olduğunu. Sabancı için çalıştı babam, doğru, o açıdan orada yalan yok. Ama bu salaklar Sabancı'nın kim olduğunu bilmiyorlar ki. Birincisi Sabancı'nın oğlu olsam herhalde genetik olarak biraz daha farklı bir görünürdüm. Konuşamıyorum.
Because I don't know the fundamentals of it. I don't know the jurisdictional questions. Ultimately, the main way that the ICC has jurisdiction is if one of the two state parties to a case is a signatory to the Rome Statute and comes in under the ICC's jurisdiction. That is not the case here. You have Israel, who of course is not a signatory to the ICC, the Palestinians, who do not represent a state at this time, and so in our view cannot sign the Rome Statute and come under the ICC's jurisdiction.
Yeah, who has had a really antagonistic way of dealing with the Palestinian statehood question? Who voted against their statehood?
Jurisdiction. I can't speak to other cases. I'd have to look into it in more detail.
And one quick follow-up to what Saeed had asked about whether or not the U.S. had approved the deal that Hamas said it agreed to. There's a lot of reporting in the region that CIA Director Burns was involved in that, had approved that. Are you saying that is that not the case? What was Burns' involvement there?
So I'm not going to speak to any of the reporting because I know I will just say, because there has been reporting all over the map on this question. Some of it right, some of it partially right, some of it completely wrong. I will say that the reporting that Hamas had accepted a proposal that we put on the table was not accurate. They had sent back a response that accepted some of it, but offered amendments. Some of those amendments are significant in nature, and they claimed at the time they had accepted the response. That's not what, or they accepted the proposal. That's not what had actually happened.
It's pretty funny that they have to sit there and like lie about their own proposal that their own CIA put forward now that Israel chose to destroy it. They vetoed the Palestinian state, and now they say they can't sign the Rome Statute as defense against war crimes committed by Israel within that territory, the most profane sophistry and an insult to all humanity, criminal, especially when considering the fact that just because a population is stateless doesn't change the reality that you can't do unimaginable wrong to them. Also, here's another country that is not a part of statute or under ICC jurisdiction that the United States of America, also not a part of the ICC jurisdiction, was collaborating with the ICC on. Russia. That's right. The United States was sending evidence to the ICC to further prosecute Vladimir Putin and the Russian government for its war crimes, which I don't have an issue with, by the way, in doing that kind of thing, even though it is obviously deeply hypocritical. Ultimately, it's for a good cause. But where the was that energy then? The idea that like, oh, we deny jurisdiction over a stateless population that's being wronged, conducted by a state that hasn't signed on to the ICC, that is our ally, is ridiculous. Like, can you imagine a world in which we had the rule-based international order that was like mostly designed after World War II, mind you, pre-World War II, and we were, instead of the business plot succeeded, and instead of actually joining the Allied forces, we're a part of the Axis at this point. And America is literally being like, Germany's a democracy. They are democratically making these decisions. It's the most moral army. They're looking for living space. They're perfectly well within their own court structure to engage in whatever kind of partition they have for Poland, whatever kind of like Eastern European conquest that they're engaging in. It's not actually conquest. They're perfectly well within their own boundaries. They're prosecuting criminals. I thought that was perfectly legal, by the way. It's a democracy. Yeah, for the crime of what? Oh, for the crime of being trade unionist, socialist, Jew, gay, trans, but crimes nonetheless. It's perfectly done within the confines of a democratic, a democratic structure. They have their own court system. They will prosecute themselves and maybe find no wrongdoing, you know? Yeah, the Wehrmacht is the most moral army in the world. Germany is the best, if not the only democracy in the world. It's completely ridiculous. Wehrmacht. Am I saying it? I'm probably saying it wrong. Okay, don't make fun of me. I don't care. Bernie Sanders came out and popped off with this. The ICC prosecutors' right to request arrest warrants for senior Hamas and Israeli leaders who are credibly accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity. The world community must uphold international law. Whether it's, Jesus Christ, it said Judenrat. Oh my God. Why are people not being melted? Why is Elon Musk's Twitter like this? Why? It is just a straight up Nazi website. Here's a time when Matt Miller was very stoked on the ICC's actions.
Actions have cemented him as an international pariah. Remember, he's been charged by the ICC with war crimes, was not able to travel to the most recent meeting of the BRICS because of that decision to charge him, did not show up at the G20 meeting, no doubt because he didn't want to hear from a number of the countries there about the results and the consequences of his actions. So yes, I would absolutely make that assessment. I think Putin's actions have cemented him as an international.
Look at that. This guy is so disingenuous all the time. Why do they keep him? What do you mean? It's his job. He's the spokesperson for the State Department. That's the whole point. He has to be a wormy little coward who constantly weasels around the issue. The wormier and more weaselly he is, the better. It is a part of the job. Frankly, he's pretty good at his job. Like, no, he could be better. He could be more antagonistic towards the journalists in like a very piffy, smarter way. It's just that Israel keeps course correcting in the exact opposite ways in which America is trying to communicate for Israel's PR. Like, America will literally be like, no, you don't understand. Like, Israel's small bean. Israel will come out the next day and be like, we've killed 100 new babies. Actually, we personally killed them because America said we're small bean. We are not small bean. We are big bean. Joe Biden would be like, oh, well, is going to be a two-state solution? Israel would be like, there will never be a two-state solution unless both of the states are Israel. There will be 2 states, maybe 3 states. All will be Israel, though. 3 different states for Israel. That's the only thing we're doing. You, Joe Biden. So like, he has no good option in this situation. Like, it's very hard to actively aid and abet a genocide while simultaneously running defense for them from a liberal perspective. So it's like, he's kind of cooked. I don't think liberals lick this up. I think liberals don't pay attention to this. I'm sorry, guys. This stuff is for the nerds. Like, when you recognize that bald guy, Matt, not him, when you recognize him, when you start to recognize him, know that you are not a part of the normal group of individuals at all. No, he doesn't suck. He's awesome. The journalist who's always asking those questions, Matt Lee. I think that's the guy, right? That's him. I'm pretty sure. Or wait, maybe it's not him. Is it him? Not Matt Lee, but Matt Lee. Anyway, my point is like, liberals don't see this shit. Liberals don't see this stuff at all. They only see whatever CNN chooses to channel. That's the problem. Anyway, the ICC is a neo-Nazi institution. Both the fake court and its genocide-enabling employees should be treated accordingly by all of people of good faith. They should be denied visas. Their asses should be frozen, and they should be prosecuted for providing material aid to Nazis. We're gonna watch Benjamin Netanyahu. We haven't even gotten to the other side of this conversation. There's also internal conflict happening within Israel with Benny Gantz. Benny Gantz has said June 8th is the deadline for a post-Gaza invasion plan. If you do not have a plan for what to do in Gaza, what Israel's actions are going to be in Gaza after we pull out, I'm quitting. I'm disbanding the war cabinet. You're cooked. You're going to jail. Whatever. So he's in a really particular situation. The Knesset, of course, also signed a historic bipartisan statement against the ICC charges. The state of Israel is in this midst of a just war against a criminal terror organization. The IDF is the most moral army in the world. I think it's pretty crazy that a lot of people do legitimately believe this. Like, it's like when we look at Trump supporters and track how insane they are. But then again, I want to show you something else. After all, these are the little groups that they have in Israel. This one has 124,000 subscribers, calling this little Palestinian girl a whore. Cry, you whore, a whore, 1,000 whores. Cry as long as you can until we get to you too and eliminate you together with your ugly girl. Although there is no stinking terrorist blood here, but the sounds of sorrow emanating from the throats of the sluts sow the soul. 109 hearts. 40. Why 9 hot dogs? I don't know what that is. Very moral army, very moral people. Soothe the soul. Oh, soothe. Anyway, what does the hot dog mean? I don't know. Oh, we're gonna get to the Morehouse speech too. Brandon said some insane shit at Morehouse, which is not on this list, I don't think. Like, for example,
what's happening in Gaza and Israel is heartbreaking. Hamas's vicious attack on Israel, killing innocent lives and holding people hostage. I was there 9 days after. Sent pictures of tying a mother and a daughter in a rope, pouring kerosene on them, burning them, and watching as they died.
So Ryan Grimm asked a question to the spokesman, to members of the branding camp on this particular story that he is bringing forward. This is yet another instance of Joseph Robinette just kind of making up stuff as he goes along. I don't know why. I don't know why he keeps doing it. I don't know if he's like losing his mind. I don't know if people are just like showing him stuff. What the fuck's going on there? Actually, I will never understand. But however, as far as we know, this never happened, and Brandon never saw it. Here is in his commencement speech at Morehouse Genocide, Biden said, "I just saw in Israel 9 days after October 7. I saw pictures of them tying a mother and a daughter in a rope, pouring kerosene on them, burning them, and watching them as they died." Ryan Grimm has asked the White House about this. He keeps saying he saw the pictures, and then the White House says he didn't. Remember, he also trafficked the 40 beheaded babies lie, among many other things. He is, of course, in the age demographic that is susceptible to believing all of the AI posts that you see on Facebook of like a pit bull with a defibrillator or whatever, with like a CPAP machine under the light of Jesus Christ, our holy Lord and Savior, and then go, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. What a beautiful sight. Can someone find this dog? Where does this dog exist?" You know what I'm talking about? The AI post that I'm talking about? Maybe Brandon saw an AI post similar to that. Or maybe he was watching Looney Tunes and he saw a coyote, a Hamas coyote, tie a innocent Israeli child to the railroad tracks or something, and now he thinks that's what Hamas is doing. The article "Why" is here. IDF soldiers sentenced to 20 days in prison for making hot dogs on Shabbat. Wait, what? The pair were caught by, is this a what? Why? The pair were caught by a third soldier who entered the kitchen and saw them committing the act. What? Not the one you meant, but this one's pretty sick. Yeah, this is literally like, this is the type of shit that's popping off on Facebook AI. Wait, one of the soldiers' father said that the punishment is disproportionate, illogical, and constitutes a complete lack of understanding of the disciplinary law. What the Wile E. Coyote never tied the Roadrunner to a train track. Okay, shut up. Bro, Israeli soldiers literally murk Palestinian children in broad fucking daylight on camera with like 4K imagery, and they don't get this level of fucking punishment. That's crazy that these dudes wanted to have some glizzies and they lit a fire when they're not supposed to be working, and they didn't have a Shabbos goy, I guess. So now they're going to jail for 20 days. That's crazy. It's not kosher. Hot dogs are kosher. What are you talking about? If a Jew heats it up, it makes it non-kosher, so it was going to be served to religious Jews even if the guy wasn't, it made it non-kosher. Chatters are so funny. They're talking about hot dogs. You know, Hebrew National is like the #1 facilitator of glizzies in the state of New York, right? Most of the dogs you're having, and I'm sure most, if not all the dogs you're having in Israel are probably kosher. That's not the problem. The problem is, like Dino Mage said, as in whether or not he himself was religious, heating it up on Shabbos makes it non-kosher. Yeah, I didn't think of that angle. You're right. If it was a Shabbos goy, if it was someone who is not Jewish who was making the dogs and serving it on a Saturday, then it would be fine. It would still be kosher. But I guess the very fact that it was a Jewish person that made the dogs makes it non-kosher, right?